not be silenced, the show that allows people to be seen, to be heard, and to be human. I'm your host, Melissa Woodfork White. In today's episode, we will talk about becoming a self-made millionaire continued with Dr. D. Anthony Miles. Sharing our stories allows us to encourage, inspire, motivate, uplift, and help people. There will be a special surprise at the end of the show. Be sure to listen all the way through for the details. Our special returning guest today is none other than Dr. D. Anthony Miles. He is a millionaire serial entrepreneur, award-winning researcher, statistician, and professor, expert witness, business expert, and best-selling author. Dr. Miles is a nationally known startup, marketing, and forensic marketing expert that has won numerous awards. He has appeared in the national media for his expertise, was a visiting professor, and has presented his research at academic conferences around the country. Dr. Miles is the CEO and founder of Miles Development Industries Corporation, a consulting practice and venture capital acquisition firm. He is the executive producer and host of Game on Business talk radio show. He received his PhD and MBA in Entrepreneurship, General Business from the University of the Incarnate Word, and MBA in International Business Marketing from Our Lady of the Lake University, and a BBA in Marketing from the University of Texas at San Antonio. Dr. Miles is going to share with us about becoming a self-made millionaire continued. Hi, Dr. Miles. Welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Melissa or Miss White, whichever one you prefer.
Melissa, Dr. Miles.
Okay, so like I'm talking to your mom, right? How you doing, Melissa? Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Oh, it is my pleasure to have you back, Dr. Miles, and to continue our conversation about becoming a self-made millionaire. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Yeah. I want you to share with us some of the characteristics to adopt to becoming a self-made millionaire.
Well, I have my answers planned for last time, but I'll tell you what, I'll revisit them. How you live, how you think in your circle of people. And to be more specific is, first thing is you want to use your body as a temple. You have to be, be healthy, because that's the first wealth creation is your body, your soul, and your mind. Spirituality, maybe not religious, but be spiritual, and, making sure that you eat right, you live right, not getting into trouble with those type of things or whatever. I'll tell you an interesting story. You're probably gonna find this really crazy coming from me. To teach me a lesson, I got smart with a police officer. My dad made me spend a night in jail. And it was a very, very humbling experience. And talk about my road to my prosperity. Sometimes you have to have things that happen to you that make you understand maybe your path where you're going should be on the straight and narrow, or should be toward reach your goal. How you live, I would probably give it three things. Must educate yourself. You must, if you want to be a millionaire in anything, millionaire, what we were talking about earlier off record, doesn't have to mean just money. It can mean millionaire with your family. You have a healthy family. You have healthy living. You have healthy things in your life. One of the things I tell people that my path probably isn't the conventional path, but it's my path. How many ways can you take your skill set and make money with it? Okay. Remember, the key is not one type of income, but many sources of income, multiple streams of income. That's the word we use nowadays. Can you get your cheese over here, get your cheese over here, get your cheese over here? A person that wants to create wealth should have at least 5 streams of income, at least 5. 1 and 4 backups. And it really is 6, but 5 is good. How can you take your time and chop it up into little pieces, and all of them come back as a return on investment to make money for you. That's totally against the convention that we were taught in school, right? College,
Mm-hmm.
university, right? Get
Mm-hmm.
your degree, graduate, find a job, retire, and that's life.
Yeah.
Well, life isn't so linear, is it? They didn't talk about downsizing while you were in school, did they? I remember I got downsized when my second daughter was born, and my way to my millions was looking kind of murky. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you have kids. Kids come along. Kids are the other part of your million. They're your offspring.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids are like your investment. And did I tell you this about last time that we talked? Refresh my memory. I'm trying to remember when I talked about making my kids study on Saturdays.
I don't think we touched on that one.
Sure. Well, I'm trying to be a millionaire, and I'm also creating millionaires. And let me tell you what I saw.
Yes.
I was in a library studying. I was working on my doctorate. I was in a library one Saturday, and my daughters weren't with me. It wasn't my weekend. And I saw all these Asian kids in the library on Saturday studying. And I was like, wow. They were there studying in groups, doing what they had to do. They weren't staying there for like an hour. They were there for a while. So when I saw that, I said, well, why don't I try that with my daughters? So I made my daughters go to the library every Saturday. Oh, they were kicking and screaming. They didn't want to do it. They thought I was the biggest jerk. And I said, you got to put in a work ethic. There's people out here working while you over here lollygagging. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
So I had them go to the library every Saturday. The first month was the roughest. They was just fighting me. And I said, listen, if you do what I ask you to do, you go to the library, bring your backpack and bring your homework and work for me. I'll take you to the movies or whatever you want to do later. Because the library's closed early on Saturday. So I,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of worked that. So they got to be where it started becoming natural to them where they wanted to go to the library Saturday. They would get all their work done. And then that translated in them improving their grades. It also translated in them getting accepted at a top HBCU. I think your HBCU, Howard, is number one. Xavier is
Oh,
number
we
two.
always gonna be number one, contrary to what any
So
data says.
my daughter, right? My daughter actually got a invitation to apply for Howard, but she stayed. She stayed where Louisiana. That's where Xavier is, and
Mm-hmm.
both of my daughters graduated as a magna cum laude or cum laude from college. Until this day, while they were in college, they were still going to the library on Saturdays. And so you talk about road to being a millionaire, there's knowledge. What did I do for my children to put them in a position to be successful? While everybody's playing and taking it easy on Saturday, you're in the library reading, you're feeding your mind, and that's another millionaire principle is feeding your mind. What do you feed
Mm-hmm.
your mind? Are you reading nonsense? Are you reading something that's going to help you? And one of the things that I learned when I on my path to creating my wealth or whatever is I have this voracious appetite for reading. And when I read, the more I found out things I didn't know. And
Mm-hmm.
as I built my knowledge, my base of knowledge, it made me more confident in dealing with people. If I don't know something, I bet I can find a book on it and read it. And that's how I keep my curiosity up. Just because you don't know something, it's incumbent upon you to go find a book and read about it, get the just the basis of it. You don't have to be an expert at it. And reading is the other thing that I did to help me become wealthy or build my empire of being a millionaire. I
Mm-hmm.
read different books. I read The Millionaire Next Door. I read The Millionaire Mind. I read venture capital books. I read consulting books. I read things that were in my circle of knowledge, and I don't like reading fiction. I like reading nonfiction. I have no use for fiction. I'm sorry. I guess I should be more, it should be so blatant, but
Well, fiction is entertaining, is what I say, because
I agree.
I'm in
I agree.
education. So, but
I agree.
nonfiction is most useful. I would
Well,
say that
I
most
would I
useful.
would agree 1,000%. And I have no use for something that just entertains me. I have something that's gonna feed my mind. And it's something I remember Kawarva Kunjufu saying. From the ages of 18 to 25, what you do in your life determines where you're going to end up in life.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had another statement that said, what you do between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. will determine where you end up in life. Are
Mm-hmm.
you sleeping, getting ready for the next day? Are you out there all out in the street doing something you don't have any business? And that really resonated with me when he said that. My dad was a key ingredient. My family was a key ingredient for me building my wealth.
Mm-hmm.
When I think the biggest lesson I could give you how I got to be a millionaire is I had to experience tragedy. I had to get downsized from a job, and I remember being downsized when my second daughter was born. And I said, I'm not ever gonna let anybody tell me I don't have a job anymore.
Mm.
Never. I said, you know what? I know it's hard right now. I can't see the forest for the trees because I'm struggling. But I'm never gonna let somebody tell me I don't have a job anymore. A job to me is like a contract. I can leave when I'm ready to leave. I can stay there or whatever. And what I like for us to understand is another pathway is we got to get out of employee mindset. You can't be an entrepreneur. You can't create millions. You can't be a millionaire if you have an employee mindset. What's an employee mindset? Well, you work this many hours a day. You get a vacation,
Working for somebody else to get rich is how I
right?
put it.
Working for somebody else to get rich, exactly. And you know, you can get it's really difficult. You can get caught up in that where you forget who you are, you forget your identity, you forget that you want to be an entrepreneur. Now, I'm not saying go out there and be an entrepreneur and don't have any money coming in because you're gonna have to work on somebody's job till you build your wealth up.
And we did talk about that, Dr. Miles, about
Exactly.
using your job to leverage
Leverage is key.
as
Exactly.
leverage, meaning
We
that
got
you go work them 40 hours, get paid X amount of dollars, and that's where the budgeting, that financial literacy comes into
exactly
place. You
financial
know,
literacy.
you're gonna put so much in your retirement, you're gonna put so much in your savings, and then you're gonna
Right.
invest so much and watch your investments work for you. And your investments, your business is an investment.
That's right. And a lot of people, well, why they work you 40 hours a week? You're so tired that you don't have energy to do anything. So you have to have energy. You have to have some vitality about yourself. They work you Monday through Friday. You should be doing your business on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know what business to do. What about real estate? Why don't you go get a real estate license and be a realtor? Now you selling houses on the weekend, and eventually you're gonna make more money on the weekend than you do working during the week. Now that's
Mm-hmm.
a nice thing to have, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Be a private investigator. People pay you to. That's not a good one. I'm sorry.
We're gonna skip that one, Dr. Miles.
We're gonna let that one roll.
Move forward to the next one.
Right, right. We don't want nobody getting shot. Looking places they don't have any business. But the goal is to find your occupation, find your passion, and do that on the weekend. And I don't want to make it sound simplistic, like it's easy. For a long time, I had to find my passion. My passion is I like to buy businesses. I like to look at businesses to invest in. I like to look at different ventures and think of you don't have to go do what I do. There's be cognizant of any industry that's in a maturing phase. You know that something new is getting ready to come up. And as black people, sometimes we're behind. Sometimes why can't we be on the forefront? Why can't we be at the beginning when a new industry starts?
And not at the end or the
And not
tail.
at the end while it's maturing because people have already made their money, they getting out the game and you getting the scraps. So
Ooh,
yeah,
Dr. Miles, that's risk. That's
that's
risk.
exactly yeah,
You gotta not be afraid to fail. And then you have
exactly.
to not be afraid to take risks. To take
Cannot
risks
be afraid.
where
Scared
you
money
can
don't do
own
anything.
your time. Going back to what you just said, Dr.
Yes,
Miles, about being, if you want to go to work, you go to work. If you don't want to go, you don't
right,
have to go, because you own your time, and then you have the
exactly.
finances to support you and your time and doing whatever. That's that financial, what do you call it? Financial freedom and financial independence. Where
Absolutely.
if I don't want to go there, I don't have to go there. If I want to quit my job yesterday, I can quit my job. And guess what? My business will take care of me because my business makes X amount of dollars and I own my time. And then if I want to go back and work for somebody else to leverage that to invest in my business, then I can do that too. But that right there, those are the characteristics.
Absolutely.
To becoming a millionaire right there. Most importantly, not being afraid to fail and taking risks. Go ahead, Dr. Miles.
We have this mindset, and what you just mentioned, Melissa, is the employee mindset. I'm gonna go to this job and I'm gonna stay there, and hopefully I don't get fired. You have a job, you're subject to get fired, you're subject to get downsized. That's a risk within itself. And what we don't tell people is, think about this. When you were in school, right? You're working on your third or second master's, right? Did any of your professors tell you, why don't you go conquer an industry? Why don't you be the best? No, they tell you to get a job, right?
Yep.
Okay. I think I mentioned this last time. I had my professor that was my advisor ask me what was I going to do when I graduated from school. I said, I want to be a millionaire. He goes, no, seriously, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be a millionaire. He didn't think that was possible. Now, I had this goal.
Now.
Thank you.
Look
I had
at
this
you
goal
now.
about 10 years, 11 years. It took me that long to get there. I wanted to get there sooner, but sometimes
you got there, Dr. Miles. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, you got there.
You plan and God laughs, right?
He
laughs.
Yes.
But if I ran into my professor and told him I finally reached it, he probably would have said, well, I probably should have been more supportive. Because you also have to understand, Melissa, dear, that everybody don't share your vision. Everybody don't share your
No, they do not.
And you got people that I call the discouragement fraternity. You doing your show, you doing different things, you building your ecosystem. Then you got your friends that, well, maybe you should quit. Maybe God didn't plan for you to be doing this. And it's like telling you to quit, go to your job or whatever. That's just hard. Once you're an entrepreneur, man, it's really hard for you to work for somebody else. It's harder and harder and harder because
Hello? You see, for those of you that are watching, you see my hand raised, right? Once you start working for yourself and paying yourself a paycheck, it is hard to go back and work for someone else. But then when you want to grow your business, then it's not so hard, Dr. Miles, because then I'm going to go back, work for you for about a year and leverage all that income to invest in my business so I can pay myself more.
Exactly. And you don't have to quit your job per se. Just use your job as what? Income. You got some scratch coming.
Yes.
And there's look at yourself as a starving artist. I played in a band. We didn't get a record deal, okay? I had to go out there and work at somebody's job with a long jerry curl, okay? Sorry, dating myself.
You had a jerry curl?
Girl, I was rocking.
You had a choice between a jerry curl and a box cut, and you chose the jerry curl.
Girl, I got a DVD with me in it. My daughter saw this DVD. They were laughing. Oh, it hurt my feelings. I thought I was so cute. I thought I was going to be the next Prince or the next Rick James. I knew I was getting a record deal. I looked like Ready for the World. That's what I looked like. I used to have that curl right here. I used to get a pimple right here.
From all that oil dripping down on your forehead.
My curl wasn't wet.
That curl activator dripping down on your forehead.
My curl wasn't wet, but it looked wet.
Oh, okay.
So I was actually an entrepreneur before I knew what it was. We were in a rock. I was playing in a rock and roll band. I played in an R&B band. I learned how to play. I took lessons, learned an instrument. I said, yeah, I'm gonna write songs. And I didn't realize then, because you do a full circle when you look at your life. I was preparing myself to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know it. Because when you start a band, you're being an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
You compete with other bands. You're trying to fight to get a record deal and all that, and but being started any type of endeavor, that's an entrepreneurial spirit. And what I like to see us as a culture of people is nurture that entrepreneurial spirit. I like to see us go, okay, now there's a difference now. There's a difference between starting a business and buying a business.
Yes,
you may not want to start
yes,
from
it
zero.
is. Mm-hmm.
You may want to go buy a franchise. I'm looking at buying a Chick-fil-A franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to start from zero and create my own burger, create my own chicken sandwich. I wanted to go buy something that was already in place. So that may be a line of entrepreneurship that people want to consider. But
Yes.
everybody's not good at a startup. They're not. Uh, you Startups are normally good for if you find an industry or a gap in a marketplace that nobody's exploiting, and you create a business to meet that gap in
Well,
marketplace.
not only that, Dr. Miles, I'd have
Yeah.
to add on, in addition
Yes.
to that,
Yes.
if that is your career,
That's true.
if
You
that's
always
your
try to
career,
find
you can make money doing what people have been paying you money to do.
exactly. That's why you use your job as apprenticeship. Use your
Mm-hmm.
job. You go, okay, I work at this company. How can I take this and monetize it for myself? A lot of people don't think like that. We shouldn't have people that are transitional entrepreneurs because they lost their job or because they got downside. You should always have an entrepreneurial spirit. And that's what creates people. That's your Steve Jobs. That's your Bill Gates. That's your Elon Musk. People, now they had backing, they had family, some of them had money. So you're gonna have to dig a little deeper, you're gonna have to work a little harder. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not saying it's insurmountable. And also be a smart entrepreneur. Stay away from industries that have too many competitors in them.
Mm-hmm.
What good is it you to start a t-shirt shop, a vendor on the streets of the
I remember
ghetto,
that phase, how they
right?
got everybody to start printing
Uh-huh.
t-shirts, then drop shipping t-shirts and all that.
Right.
Everybody doing it, then who really making money?
Fubu, and Carl Kanai still around?
Yes.
Okay. Apparel is a good industry, but it's a very extremely
Yes, it
competitive
is, because
industry.
so many people are doing it.
It's still,
You really have to do what you just said, Dr. Miles,
yes,
about finding your niche within
that's
that
right.
industry that you can explode.
Because all those guys that make the apparel, they don't do everything. Find out, gotta do it like this. I don't want to make it simplistic. Fubu does this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Fubu do that? If you can answer that question, then you have a new venture that you can go into.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they do apparel, when you go in another direction, you go find something. Well, what can I do that they're not doing? I'll do belts. I'll do ties.
And you
I'll
know
do
what? That industry has exploded. We're
it
seeing a
sure
lot
has.
of people who tapped into what you just said,
That's
the
right.
belts and the wallet industry.
That's right. Exactly. And all you have to do is look at them and study what they're doing. Because, Fubu, they're not my cup of tea. However, do have a market. And I said, okay, how can I build a product? Because there's something called co-opetition where you complement the competitors. What if I sell belts that goes with their jeans? Because they don't really do get into belts. I could create a new industry, building belts, making, flashy belts or whatever, maybe getting the watches. And I don't have to compete with them directly. I can they can complement my business. When people buy their pants, they'll buy my products. That's the way we got to think. And also, you want to build an ecosystem. Don't try to go off into something that's not in your lane, like what we were talking about earlier. When you have a job, right? You monetize your skills. Let's say you're in the let's some generic. I don't know. You do hair care,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Well, if you do hair care, what if you do like we saw in the movie a beauty shop? You created your own hair care line of products.
Mm-hmm.
That's the building an ecosystem around what you already know how to do. You're already doing hair, right? So you build products. The next day, you're like Carol's daughter. You selling your company for $1 billion.
Mm-hmm. And I also like, we're not name dropping, but since you brought it up, Mael Organics, because I use both of their products, Carol's Daughters and
Absolutely,
Mael Organics.
absolutely. And
And they
the
both
labor.
started off the same way. And
That's right.
I even the newest venture is that curl mix for natural
Okay.
hair.
Uh
The
huh.
newest one, she's doing a fantabulous job too.
That's
Offering different,
what I'm talking about.
it's what you said, Dr. Miles. They all offer hair care, but they offer different aspects of hair care.
That's right. Exactly. And then as a culture of people, we should dominate an industry. We used to dominate the black hair care industry, but you know who owns it now, right?
Mm-hmm.
the Asian community. How did that happen? Some of us got, got made enough money. We sold our company to other people that are not in our community. And so now they're the new millionaires and new billionaires. Why couldn't we take that and reinvest it and say, okay, let's complement our industry. Let's do something like an ecosystem. We can go from that to building a manufacturing plant that does the containers for the hair care products.
But you know what, Dr. Miles? I believe we are taking ours back because
Good,
there are
even
more
better.
Black owned hair care stores in this day and age than it was back then.
It sure is.
And that's
That
it's across the states. And then
that
not
is
only
wonderful.
that, when you have companies like Mielle Organics, they support
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Curl Mix supports that. Carol's Daughter supports that.
That's right.
I think that we'll be able to take that back. But Dr. Miles, let's move on to the next question.
Yes, ma'am.
I really want you to get into your services. How does your business, Miles Development Industries Corporation, help people to become self-made millionaires? For instance, you have your books, How to Get Away with Murder in Marketing, Forensic Marketing, Entrepreneurship and Risk Factors and Business Models. And then you have your services, Startup Business Advisory and Consultation. And then you have Marketing Advisory and Consultation.
Yes. My client base is tend to be high-end worth people, professional athletes, people that have a high net worth. And what I did was I took my knowledge from my books and I made it I monetized it. So what I said was, when somebody wants to start a venture and they want to do it at a high level, they may not want to talk to somebody at the SBA or somebody like that. They want to talk to somebody that's what, like me. Like, think of me as like an accountant. What does accountant do? Accountant or CPA rather, they're good at telling people what they shouldn't do with their money so they comply with the government in terms of taxes or whatever. They keep them legal. What I try to do with my business and my services, my clientele, I try to prevent them from making bad business decisions with business ventures. Like, let me tell you a couple of war stories.
Just one, quick.
All right. When I meet guys of a certain age demographic, they want to start. They want to start a club, a nightclub. Nightclub's one of the worst businesses that you can get into.
I was just about to say that from my own business background and my own studies. I was just gonna say that's one of the worst industries to be in, next to starting a restaurant.
Restaurant is better than a club. At least
yes, it is. The club is at the bottom. But go ahead, real quick, Dr. Miles.
Sure. And I'm trying to tell this young guy, he got a little money. He's an athlete. He wouldn't listen to me. And I said, listen, I'm telling you, I'm talking to you like you're my best friend. I don't think you should do this business. He was listening to his family. The other thing is his family was a bad influence on him.
That goes back to that foundation.
Exactly.
That you were talking about.
He had people around him that was trying to take his money and make it their money. And he went against my advice. He went and opened a club. The club lasted, I don't know, 4 months. Then they were closed. And,
because it was costing more money to run the club than what they were taking in profits.
Absolutely. You gotta have security. You gotta get a liquor license. You got all those type of
that
things.
within itself is expensive. That's the most expensive.
There's so much overhead.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
And that's if you have people coming in. People get tired of clubs, and what do? They stop going, right?
Mm-hmm.
He just couldn't make that ship sail. It just sank on him, and I said, I don't like to be the guy to say I told you so, but I said maybe that had to happen to him to realize that's a business that I shouldn't be getting into, because then you have other issues of legalities. People bringing guns to the club, people fighting, people get liquor inside of them, and they cause problems. That has bad publicity for your business. And so I see stories like this all the time when I consult people. I say, stay away from businesses that are commodity-based businesses. What's a commodity type business? It has no dominance in the marketplace. People, you're a commodity to them. You're a very common business. What's the difference between you and a guy down the street? And some people really don't want to start a business. They want to start a hobby and try to make it into a business.
Oh, that's another conversation for another day, Dr.
Oh
Miles.
yeah. So I'm
This
the
is,
wake up call when I do consulting. I'm the
but
wake
you,
up call.
but you also mentioned that earlier when you were sharing your story, how you became a self-made millionaire out of your own tragedy. And like you said, maybe they just have to experience that for themselves to get on the right track. But Dr. Miles, tell us once again how does sharing your story today help others, and your current and future plans for Miles Development Industries Incorporation.
Okay. I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show, Miss Melissa. My story, I had to go through some tragedies to get to where I am, so it wasn't an easy road to success. I had to kiss some frogs. I had made bad investments in different business ventures. And then what I look for toward the future is to build my empire, go from being a multi-millionaire to being a multi-millionaire. I'm looking at buying a couple of franchises. I'm looking to get into other business industries. I'm looking at doing business in Africa, trying to build an international trade system with Africa. Got some brothers down there that's I'm making contacts with. I'm trying to be international in my business, and that's where it's at. There are needs beyond the United States. People that need products, people that need hair care products, people that need
Yes.
different services, people that need consulting. Are you that person that they can go to? Because they'll give you their money, and it's like printing your own money.
Yeah.
If you do something really good and you're good at it, and you know your craft, you're a millionaire when you wake up in the morning. You're a millionaire when you go to bed at night.
Amen. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Miles.
Thank you, young
Always
lady. I
a pleasure.
appreciate you. God
As
bless you. You're
always, we
so
will
wonderful.
drop your link with your episode.
All right.
And so thank you so much, Dr. Miles.
Thank you,
We
Miss
got all
White.
of our question answers in the continued.
Oh well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me back. Hopefully, I made a dent with the audience, and hopefully, they can pick some nuggets of wisdom from me. Really
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
So next week, we'll continue to discuss and have conversations about real experiences, personal and professional, stories that need to be shared, seen, and heard that makes us human. The truth will not be silenced. To be seen, to be heard, and to be human. The surprise, if you like or leave a positive comment about the show, you will get a shout out. This includes businesses. You can do products and services, organizations, and events. Following the link in the show notes lets Buzzsprout know we sent you and help support our show. Buzzsprout is the best way to launch a professional podcast. Want to ask a question, be a guest, or subscribe to this podcast? The truth will not be silenced. Click on the show link. Thank you so much for joining us.